Alright, so we've come to the chapter about the Uprising feud. Where it started, how it was planned, the end, and then our subsequent return. Although I don't know if we're going to touch on that as much as, just like I said, the whole feud and how it started. We'd started, I think, Hadley had put the ball in motion early 2010. Like I said, we had teased it the year before with him and Jamie, and then Hadley eventually joined us again, and so we decided this time we were gonna go through it for real. And plus, like I said, we were still going pretty strong. The Uprising was still going pretty strong, but it was time we kind of did our own thing or whatever. We were always kind of in the tag team stuff. Very rarely did we really do any single stuff. Yeah. So Hadley, it was actually Hadley's was one who he wrote the whole storyline. Pretty much, he had the whole thing written out by hand, printed it out for me and all that stuff. And like I said, I just okay, cool. I'd read some stuff. Hey, when's this supposed to happen again? Oh, this month. Okay, cool. Just keep me posted, kid. And so he'd come up with this thing and how he was gonna put his wife in there, and so I kind of let you talk about that because you've written it out.
It's actually kind of funny because we had always, you always hear about, people breaking the business together. A lot of them are like, oh yeah, we wanted to be tag team champions. We never had any intention of teaming. The only time it came up was right before we got put together as the Uprising. I'd come up with this tag move for the slingshot flipping neckbreaker. That became like our trademark. And I came up with this, and I was just like, dude, maybe they should just put us together. And I remember you saying on the phone, you were like, well, yeah, I mean, if they put us together as a team, we gotta break up and feud, So we always wanted to feud. And so we started, we had originally talked about the moment, like I said, pretty much the moment we started teaming. It was like, yeah, okay, at some point we're gonna feud. We came up with so many different scenarios. Well, finally it came to that point where we just both started thinking, I think it's run its course, I think it's time to split. And I remember I talked to Billy probably the year before, and I was like, I told him how I thought it'd be really cool because when we teased the breakup, everyone on the message board was like, oh, he's following in Billy Rock's footsteps, he's gonna take he's gonna fill the void his mentor left. Fair enough. And so I was like, okay. I told him, I was like, how cool would it be in our feud if you were like a mystery partner for me? I think the crowd would just go crazy seeing us team. And Billy had pitched this idea of maybe coming back and teaming with me, and he had come up with basically using me and Joanna kind of like Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, where I'm heel, she's kind of more baby, and then it kind of breaks down from there, and I eventually go babyface. And so I came up with this idea of, okay, we'll introduce her, she'll manage us, he won't like it, and then that's basically how the breakup happened. Was she cost us the tag titles because she wouldn't give me brass knuckles. And then the following month I lost to Motley, was about to shake hands with him. That's when you came out and cut a really good promo, like going off on me and even Martin, I believe. And like it just, you were just like unhappy with everything. And I remember that night you lost to Jed, and then we ran out. Me and Joanna ran out, and Brett runs out like to check on our fallen leader, and I ran out. This was your idea. I ran out and stopped. And then earlier in the night, when you cut your promo, you were like, yeah, Motley's good, but you should have been better. So when you're getting helped out by Brett, I was like, Jed's talented, but you should have been more talented. And we walked off, and it was like the crowd like popped for it. I was like, okay, good, they're still with me. And then I came up with the Uprising intervention, and that was actually in June. In May, I hurt my back, so you had to take my place against KJ. And all we really did there was you went to grab Joanna by the arm, and I got in your face. Yeah. And that was the night that I got in your face, and that was the night when I showed babyface tendencies by, instead of having Joanna open the ropes for me, I opened them for her. But it was funny, because I still remember in the crowd, I was wearing this shirt. And the fan in the crowd goes, Hadley, Boston #1! Hadley for president! That was the highlight of the night for me. But, so then we move on to June 2010. That's when we did the Uprising intervention. And I thought it was a really good promo. where, you know, I basically showed the babyface tendencies. Bret Havoc was trying to keep us together, and we're just falling apart. Then Tommy Gage comes out, and we decided we made a challenge to him and Valor. Well, Valor couldn't be there, so we ended up having to do it where you just turned on me, like before the match even started. Hit me with a pile driver on the chair, or before that, Tommy Gage held me down. Joanna, you beat up Joanna, pile drove her, and then pile drove me on the chair. So that's how we kicked off the feud. And I wrote all this whole storyline from, I believe, May? Yeah, from June on. I wrote this whole storyline on the way to and from my honeymoon. My wife wouldn't allow me to write it on the honeymoon. But on the way there and back on the plane, I came up with everything. And that was kind of where, and then in July was kind of Billy's idea of, you know, let's not tell anybody. Let's surprise, like, don't tell anybody in the back. I won't even be at the show. I'll just come in through a side door as your partner. And I saw it as, and I think people knew, I mean, most of the boys in the back had to know that it was Billy as my partner, because we were like this at the time. And I remember him coming through the side door, because I felt like if I didn't tell anybody in the back, how's anybody in the crowd going to know? He comes through the side door, and I just remember people coming unglued. I mean, the whole place just explodes. And overall, I thought my performance was horrible, but we didn't need to do anything in the ring because Billy was back, and the crowd was just hyped on that. And I remember you and I were just going crazy. Like, I remember I was going crazy on the outside, just pumped up here in the ring, like, I can't believe this. And like, it was just a magical moment. I remember Trip Cassidy texting me later that night. He told me after the match, he goes, hey, I got to tell you something. I was like, what? He's like, oh, I'll text it to you later. I'm like, is it bad? He's like, no, it's not. He texted me later that night, and he goes, you know, he goes, this moments like tonight are the reason I got into this business. He goes, tonight was a magical moment with you and Billy. And I was like, thank you. I was like, it was really awesome and all this. And he goes, professional wrestling is a work. The emotion in that building tonight was not. And that meant a lot to me. So then we go forward, you know, August, we ended up putting ourselves in a fatal four-way for the Championship Material Challenge. And that was actually, we were originally just supposed to brawl all around the place, just me and him in a singles match, but we had some people cancel and things change and all that. So finally, like, we built up, we spent months building it up, because I didn't want us wrestling each other. I didn't want to Shaman Guy. I didn't want us wrestling each other 14 times in the storyline. So we built to October, Beyond the Brink. We kind of decided, like, October, you know, January, March, and I think it was like June or July would be like our big, or like, you know, WWE has like their top 4 pay-per-views, but those were going to be ours. So Beyond the Brink was our first time wrestling each other, and we opened the show. And I remember going to you and being like, what do you think should open the show? Because we had like a hardcore battle royal for the hardcore title and all this. And he was like, I think we should. He's like, I think we kind of set the tone. And I was like, fair enough, let's do it. And I remember going out there and, you know, at the time this still does mean a lot to me, even though our friendship has fizzled out. But I remember after that match, we both got a text from Billy saying, you know, how proud he was of us, because it was just a really good match. And it's also that, you know, the Monticello screw job may have been a negative mark on our career, but the bright side of it was that was the night the ending to our October match, the October match we had, kind of was born, the blood capsule.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah, I'd come up with a idea. I was like, man, that's like, you know, it would be funny. I was like, you know, don't gig or anything like that. It's like, what happens if it just used a blood capsule? The ref stopped the match or said, whoa, hold it, and went over to check on me. And while you did that, you know, you turned around, I schoolboyed you, rolled you up or whatever, and then I like, I throw down the capsule, said, you know, it's like, it's just genius. That's like freaking make them believe, you know, I was like, and then people would say, you lying piece of crap, blah, 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 blah. And it was fun. It worked. Like I said, I remember throwing down the cap or whatever. It was just a fun thing, and everything worked out. Our referee, who also was named Billy, helped us out. He was a consummate professional, dropped the capsule right in my hand or whatever, so I could put it in my mouth and chew it and all this and that. Made it look like I was bleeding, all that stuff. You know, people bought it or whatever. But it was a fun little thing. Like, so we do the October thing. Then he'd come up with the thing that, okay, let's not wrestle each other. In fact, you know, let's not, I mean, have very little interaction in between. If anything, a quick promo between the two of us. We basically pick your poison kind of thing of, you choose my opponent for 1 month, and I choose your opponent. So I go out and I say, I think I cut a promo.
Yeah, you said that your mouth was still sore from the month before.
Yeah, my mouth was still sore from the month before from that fake capsule and all that. So I say, well, I wheel out Damian Minister. He wrestles, he destroys Hadley. They have a match or whatever, and Damian goes over. So here goes Hadley the following month.
I went out there and was like, oh, my back is killing me from last month's package pile driver, my back or my neck or something. I was like, so I'm not going to be able to compete. I was like, but I found me a partner, and we did something kind of cool where I pointed to the back and Cage Stevens walks out. And, Cage Stevens is a little guy. And so it's like, I was like, hang on. I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I wanted to see Rojas' face when we bring out. And then he introduced Osiris. And the match was just great. I
don't remember any of it, and I wish someone had it on tape. I wish we were in between camera people, because that was right when the Brian and Deborah had left or whatever, and we were trying to find a camera guy. So anyway, I'd come up with this idea. I told, I was like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there, and if he's going to do this or whatever, Steven's going to come out and then introduce you, and I'm going to be frightened. I was like, I'm going to freaking duck. I'm going to hide. I'm going to go under the ring. I'm going to hide. I'm going to have like my hands sticking out or something, so you just see my fingers or my foot or something. It was my fingers, I think, because I think he wanted to step on them or whatever. And, everyone's like, no, he's under here. He's under there. You just get the crowd just going into it. I mean, that was the thing, is just really, play off it, like me being frightened, and so anyway, the match goes off. It was an awesome match. Like I said, I wish we had it on tape, because I've never taken a belly to belly, and some of the other stuff that just working with Osiris was just awesome, was just freaking awesome. Why that guy I truly believe he's got the size. He should be up there in WWE or something like that,
Yeah.
But, I guess I'm no talent scout, but man, I had such a fun time working with him. So, we do the November thing. He wrestles Damian. I have an awesome match with Osiris, a really fun match. And
it was the game of one-upsmanship. Yeah. It was basically the whole thing. And then in January, we wrestled each other again. And this is another match I wish we had on tape, because, again, that was the night that we named Eric King the cameraman, but it was after the show.
Yeah.
So we don't have that one on tape either, but it was a really good match, I thought. And that was the night I got powerbombed through the chairs. And it's funny, because I was supposed to only take one powerbomb through the chairs, but I took the first one, and the way I landed wouldn't have worked for paralysis. So I was like, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, do it again. Picks me up. He's like, all right. Second powerbomb through the chairs, and they spread, so I landed perfectly, and I just laid there. And we had a bunch of guys come out, but one of the guys that I made sure to have come out was Trip Cassidy, because he was heel, but he was also School of Rock. So I felt by bringing him out to check on me, I think we had a couple other heels, but Trip was the main one to me, because to me it made it look real. It was like, oh, well, these guys trained at the same place, so obviously Trip has some connection to Hadley, but he's a heel. You're not going to want to see them in front of the crowd together, and here Trip is showing compassion. Like, it was like a breaking of character. And then you had my wife out there crying, which I still, to this day, I find it funny that I kind of used her pregnancy to further my storyline. But, hey, at least technically my daughter could say she was part of the wrestling business. But I remember Laura played the role of the nurse checking on me. Gave me a nice little tidbit. What was it? Something like, she had told me, she's like, okay, she goes, something you need to know is if you're going to be teasing paralysis, I think it was not to move my hands or my fingers or something, because that's something that generally people know that, you're not paralyzed if you can do that. So I was like, okay. I was like, I got to remember that. So once again, Laura, thank you.